Okay, we're gonna talk about Iron Giant.
Okay, so here's the intro music. Uh, there we go.
It's not copyrighted.
Nope.
Okay, so you haven't seen Iron Giant in probably like a while,
No,
right?
it's been like years.
So I'd say like last time I saw it was probably within like I've seen like clips of it like within like a year.
Yeah.
I just kind of like watch like the best parts just because it's like one of my favorite movies from like growing up and shit.
Yeah.
And I remember you being young enough to like learn how to talk and shit, like talking about that movie.
Yeah.
So you watched it like when you were really young.
I remember when we bought it. It was like we got the VHS tape in
Yeah.
Superstore.
Yeah, that's right.
And we went in and it had the little like Iron Giant toy on the front with the plastic.
Yep.
And I like there's like a crate of them. And
What
I
do
was
you
just like there's a crate of like all these VHSs with Iron Giants, but I was
Okay,
like,
right.
I have to have this.
Right.
Like, so I think that's why we got it. It was pretty expensive though, like compared to the normal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There's toys of them out there and they're like really expensive.
Yeah.
They like talk and stuff and they're like really
When
high
you
quality.
put when
but they're
you
like
put him
super
in
rare.
his hand, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
I
like
really want to get one.
that'd be really sweet. Yeah, so movie,
Yeah.
what do you think about it?
It's a good movie. It's like one of my favorite movies, and it's like kind of heavy-handed, but it's got a really surprisingly star-studded cast. Like, isn't
And a really sort of like a smart cast, like not like just like the names, like
Yeah.
some cartoons back in the day. It's just like all like you got your Tom Hanks and like the other guy. I'm thinking Toy Story, but I can't think of the names.
oh god,
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, yeah.
Not like they were like like A-list celebrities back then, but
Yeah.
but like no, you got like Shooter McGavin from like and like the kid is not like a famous kid, and the mom's like Jennifer Aniston, but like
But it's got a really small cast too. Like, there's not a whole lot of characters in it
Yeah.
when you think about it.
and like Vin Diesel as like the Iron Giant,
Yeah.
you should never guess. Just like
Unforgettable.
a fun fact. But yeah, like I'd say it's a movie that was like really ahead of its time.
And it didn't do very well.
No, it was sort of like a
Like,
flop in a sense, like
yeah.
where it was like a sleeper movie where people didn't really like go
Watch it in
see
theaters,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder why that was, because it seems really strange.
It must have been
would be
something with what else was coming out at the time, but
that or
it's
like
like
marketing or something like that.
who was it? Jeff, what's his name? Josh Bird.
Oh, Brad Bird.
Brad
Yeah.
Bird. Yeah, he's been pushing for like years to
Yeah.
like release it on Blu-ray or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Oh.
it's and he's trying to get the company to like give him money for it because it's it costs a lot of money to like remaster stuff from like a VHS.
Yeah, no,
So-
exactly. I'm surprised I don't have it on DVD. I've just seen it so many times where it's like, I mean, it's not like it's, I don't know. In any case, it's like a movie that I've seen at least probably like more than 15 times.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
it's unbelievable. Like
20,
it's so good.
I bet. Just having it on all the time as a kid.
Yeah, and just like it teaches you so much about stuff while not really, I don't know, like it gives you the like you sort of learn lessons through the giant rather than like through the like main character sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah.
And he's like a funny, likable kid too. Like
Yeah.
he's sort of like a weird sort of kid. He's not like the normal sort
Reads
of kid
comic
for his
books.
age. And that it's set in like the 60s
Is it?
or 50s.
I don't
Because it's
Oh,
like
right,
Cold
'cause-
War, like
yeah, there's like
Fear of the Russians kind of thing. I think
yeah,
it's,
there's like the
1960.
whole like spoilers, even though it's not really spoilers anymore. It's
It's a
like
movie that like
came out
a
like
long time
20,
ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like with the missile and everything, like that's like a nuclear missile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Don't you think that even though he went like fairly into space, there'd
Yep.
still be fallout?
Oh, I'm
like, do you
sure.
think so?
there's a lot of things like that where it's like
And like he got blown up like in the sky. How did he end up in like Iceland?
yeah,
like,
that
where
doesn't
are
make a lot
they?
of sense. And like yeah, I remember that's a really good ending to a movie though,
Yeah.
because it's like that Superman thing though. I've read in articles where it's like the top 10 children's movies that like make adults cry.
Yeah.
And I swear, like, even to this day, I'm still like getting over it. But like, there's a good like 10 times in a row from the beginning of watching that part of
Yeah.
that movie, like over and over again,
Yeah.
that I like almost cried every time. Or like tears come.
Yeah.
It's just when he's like Superman, you're
And,
like,
his
oh no,
eyes, like and the way his eyes close all slow and everything.
It's so
it's
like
like
artistically and sound wise, like just a masterpiece of a moment.
yeah. Yeah.
Also, like I really like the the Dean character, the like hippie
so
kind
funny.
of like beatnik kind of guy. Like
Yeah.
he was really good, and
was
that's not
was
like
it Disney? Because like the animation,
No,
and
I
everything
believe
is
it's
so
DreamWorks.
good. Yeah, it was DreamWorks.
amazing like hand drawn animation.
Yeah.
And there's like some
And it was like the first one that I'd seen where they mixed the 3D with like hand drawn animation, and it fit like
but it's like a
surprisingly
cell shaded kind of thing that's not
Yeah.
like it doesn't it fits so well because like they're almost seamless like in terms of like the style of both. It's not
Yeah.
like there's some movies where it's like a cartoon
well. Yeah.
and then they'll have like a CGI like
They'll have those like
ship or
CG
something.
like animal characters, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is like I
So
can
true.
I can like feel the difference. But
No.
I feel like a lot of it is due to the part that they like worked really hard to make it seem seamless, because like the
Yeah.
way that they shot the angles and stuff, like you can tell that they really thought about it, and that it wasn't just like some
It wasn't like a fluke. Like there's a lot of like work that went into that to make
Yeah.
it like a really specific thing. I think like the Brad Bird thing too. Like he's done like Incredibles and like
Yeah.
that Mission Impossible that was okay.
Did
And
he do that?
He did Mission Impossible 4, I think the Ghost Protocol one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like pretty good. There's some like good scenes in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's just quality. I think he did Simpsons shit too. I think he like wrote for Simpsons, directed some Simpsons episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, good solid movie. And like it's like one of those movies where it's like mostly critically kind of understood to be like a good movie.
Yeah.
Like on the internet, you know, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, Iron Giant's like awesome."
Yeah,
you read
it's,
some like
it's
hater
always
shit,
on like the top of everybody's list of
Yeah.
like kids movies.
kind of like underrated, you know,
Yeah.
kids movies or whatever for
Yeah.
sure. So at least it's got that kind of like what's that called, where it's like after the fact kind of like hidden gem kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it's appreciated like in circles,
like
cult,
like
like a cult
posthumously
classic
sort of.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, just like the like the idea of the movie, like the concept of just like if you were a kid that age and you found like this like, and I don't know, just the idea of making a friend with someone who's like 1,000 times your size, like what sort of things you would do and like what ramifications there are to
and it's like the ultimate dream,
Yeah.
like, of everyone's. It's not
it's like,
necessarily
oh, yeah,
his
like,
dream.
you're-
It's not like he wanted like a giant robot
Yeah.
and he got one.
You're not
It's
gonna
just,
get him to like fight like in like a battle for you. You're just gonna get him to like pick you up in a car and like pretend like you're in a spaceship or something. Like,
and he's sort of isolated from like the only thing about the movie that's really sci-fi is just the robot. It's not like he gets the robot and then there's like aliens invading or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just like the robot is in like
Yeah.
60s like America, kind of like that tense time.
and it's not really important where he comes from. Like
No, yeah.
yeah, like that's not the focus of the story. It's all about the relationships between the people, and like they don't really try and explain it. And it's funny because like you'd think that by the end of it you'd be like, oh, but where did he come from? It's like
Yeah.
you don't really care about that. You kind of forget even.
It's true,
that,
yeah.
Like how he shows up. Like there's like he crashes or something. I don't really.
There's
remember.
some like, you know, you dig
You can
deep
read
enough
into it.
online, you find out like plot things that were cut out where it's like he maybe came from a planet of robots that just like get sent out and kind of, you know, send beacons back and they destroy that planet. There's shit like that, but it's
exactly though. Like the thing that's kind of scary though is
Yeah.
that like you wonder why he's sent in like this normal form, and then once he's like attacked, that he goes into this like
fucking
planet
badass,
destroying.
like, like
because like
invaders
what's the purpose of him?
yeah.
Like because if he's kind of in disguise when he shows up,
And it seems too like when he does like first land, he's pretty like he's like a robot. He's not like amazed at people and like shit. He just robot walks over to that power station and he's like eating the shit. And then it's like when he sees Hogarth save him, because he does see him kind of shut the switch off.
yeah,
Or maybe
Then
it's
he
between that and the
does some, like,
electricity.
paternal
he
sort of
sort
thing.
of just changes a bit. Like he maybe gets some
and he
sort
also
of
gets
sentience.
zapped too. Like
What's that?
His hardware in his brain kind of fries.
And he's got that bump on his head.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
It's like the caved in little dome
Yeah,
thing.
I hated that because like when we had the toy,
The
I was
toy.
like, I don't want this bump. Like I just want it to be perfect on the head. Like,
Even though you probably knew that it was like in the movie. where he's
yeah,
got the bump.
yeah. I always just
Like
like because I
OCD.
hated little like nicks on the yeah. And yeah, like I also kind of like that he doesn't like. You kind of wonder what his mission was, because if he was sent to Earth and he's just like immediately eating metal and like eating electricity and power and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because he gets kind of injured when he gets electrocuted, so I don't think that he.
Yeah,
that
no,
he
I don't
wanted,
think.
like,
No, he went to the
electricity.
power station for like metal. I think
Yeah.
that's all it was.
But like, yeah, it's so weird.
Like a weird sort of like fuel for him, just like almost like a big nanobot where he just needs more kind of like
Yeah.
shit for power or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But very, very dope movie.
And it's so quotable too.
Do you- Oh yeah, like we used to say that shit all the time.
Yeah, except like not too much. Like it's not like other movies.
No, I wouldn't say it's maybe a quotable movie, but there's definitely like good scenes,
Yeah.
and they're like visually good, and like the writing and the delivery
writing's
stuff like
so
is
good.
really quick and snappy, and kind of like also very realistic in the sense that it's like they have kind of conversations that kind of like in Incredibles where it's like the mom is like these are like these bad guys, like they won't, just because you're kids they won't like not kill you. You know?
Yeah.
There's that kind of like that realistic like danger, especially like in the end where it's
Yeah.
like there's the nuclear thing and it's coming towards the
And
town.
it's like everybody's gonna die.
Yeah,
if
like
you-
they're like, oh, we'll get to a shelter, and there's like, we're not gonna survive this. It's like, holy shit, that's pretty like intense for like a kid to be watching. You know,
Yeah.
as a kid is a kid, really.
Yeah.
Hat on a hat. So what about what are things in the movie that you would complain about, or what is like some like, because I hate to be like just praising a movie without talking about some of the maybe like silly things
That's
or faults
true.
or whatever.
I can't really,
I don't often think about any really, but I'm sure I could think up some on the spot.
cause yeah, like usually, like I'm thinking of the train scene where he's like fixing it and everything, and like that gives me so much intense anxiety.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And like I would say that I dislike that, but it's like one of the only scenes where, cause like those scenes where there's something that's like a train's coming or there's like a countdown timer,
yeah,
and it's like, oh, the hero's totally and obviously going to do it in time.
yeah,
Like like it's so obvious every time because it's like this pressure and you're like, oh no, he won't be able to do it. But with that movie, every time he does it, and because he kind of gets hit by it,
yeah.
it's like he doesn't do it in time.
No,
Like he does kind of take too long.
yeah, he's not
and-
like perfect. Like he
Yeah.
definitely is like subject to like just, and he's kind of like he's too perfect. Like he's trying to line him up just too right, but they probably would have been fine in the little train tracks or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like
And,
he's sort of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably so much about that movie that I don't even appreciate. Just like just how deep everything is, and like the showing like how he can be kind of destroyed but put himself back together is like
Yeah.
a huge part of that part. And like how dope is that scene where he gets kind of activated by the gun,
Yeah.
and he like his eyes go red for that first time. You're like, oh shit, what? Where it's like you kind of like go, oh, he can be like dangerous. Like
Yeah.
he could be like kind of
Because
like
you from the very beginning you think that he just kind of accidentally bumps into stuff and it can kind of hurt people.
yeah, like
but
he's kind of clumsy, but
yeah,
he's
but
like
he's not really like
he's like a weapon
Yeah.
basically.
yeah. And then I love like the first time where that happens and he just up and like shoots a laser at Hogarth and he just barely escapes.
Just barely, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Dean saves him one time or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah, and then that sort of that idea that you like he doesn't want to be like a villain. Like he sees what he's capable of,
Mm-hmm.
and he like sees how dangerous he is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of why he sacrifices himself too, to like save everybody, but also to like take himself out of the equation
Maybe,
because he's kind of like not really safe for Hogarth. Like every time he's with him, like he puts him in danger, sort of.
It's like is that supposed to be like a metaphor for anything, do you think? Or like it's kind of just like it's so kind of weird. And like I remember listening to the commentaries or some sort of interviews about it, and they
Yeah.
said like the idea is like to have like it's like a gun with a soul, where it's like
Yeah.
he knows he's like a weapon and he's self-aware, but like can he be used for good? Can he be, it's like that sort of thing where, so maybe there's some of that.
Yeah.
Steph, I should really respond to Steph's phone calls. Well, we'll have to conclude that.
Yeah, so next
vague
time
review.
on
Next
Jeff
time
Grubbs.
on whatever this is called. No copyright infringement whatsoever. All right.
But
Hello.